What's going on, everyone? Welcome on into a live Cleveland Browns report. The NFL draft is over, but we're not going anywhere. Plenty to discuss on today's show. We're going to run through the latest news and rumors on the Browns Stadium potentially moving to the Burbs. We're going to run through some UDFA grades because, well, it's kind of fun to look at some of these guys. They have such a long shot of making the roster, but there's no better feeling than being ahead of the curve. And a great way to do that for training camp is by studying up on some of the draft picks in UDFAs now. So before we get to all that good stuff, shout out your city for me in the comment section. Let me know where you are tuning in from. We're going to give everyone a few minutes to click on the notification and file on in and whatnot. So while everyone else is doing that, for you early birds, shout out your city. I'll be giving shout outs to everyone in the comment section. And remember to like the video too if you haven't already. We got Caden LeBlanc here. What's going on, Matt LeBlanc's nephew? Clint Spencer is watching from Akron, Ohio. I got Kimberly Hurst in the chat. We've got cool guy called Zone hanging out with us. Jacob Kistner was a member of the Noti gang today. I don't know how Jacob is so early in the chat. I hit schedule stream, and he is there to say first immediately. Deb is in Ohio. Cool Guy is in Russia. I'm not quite sure if YouTube is cooperating for the Russians. Kimberly is in Lincoln, Nebraska, formerly in Akron, Ohio, though. Everyone else get in the chat right now. Let me know where you are tuning in from. Expert JK is in from California. Keith Walker, transfer Pennsylvania. Right now, the furthest viewer would be Expert JK in California. But let me know where you guys are tuning in from. I'm giving shout-outs like I mentioned. I see we have Deb in the chat. We have Debbie. We have Deb and Debbie. Ty Man, Jacob Kistner, Cool Guy, Keith Walker, Expert JK. Keep shouting out your city. Let me know where you're tuning in from. Now, some news that broke earlier this morning was the Browns picked up Greg Newsome's fifth-year option. It will cost him about $13.3 million for 2025. So not this upcoming season, but the following season. And do you agree with the Browns picking up Greg Newsome's 2025 fifth-year option? Does he look like a $13 million man to you? The tough things with fifth-year options is sometimes you have like runaway obvious examples. Of course you're going to pick up that fifth-year option, like Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. Like there was no question. But you have some guys that in their first 2 to 3 seasons show improvement, but $13 million is a big number, and you're like, he doesn't look like a $13 million man yet. Keyword is yet. I think the Browns are betting that he had 2 interceptions, 14 pass breakups a season ago. Both were career highs. He's adjusting and learning a new role as an inside corner. I think there's a lot of growing optimism that Newsome can continue to get better in Jim Schwartz's defense. And that right now it may not sound like a fair price sticker based on what he's produced through 3 years. But by year 5, after 2024, $13 million may be a bargain. So I'm very much okay with the Browns picking up Greg Newsome's fifth-year option. I'm willing to bet that Greg Newsome will continue to improve. And the cornerback room, which is a cornerstone piece in the NFL, can stay intact for not just 2024, but 2025 as well. Denzel Ward, Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson, all under contract for the next 2 seasons. So what do you all think? Pick him up, yes or no? Kimberly says yes. I've got Deb saying yes. Ed hanging out with us from Lexington, Kentucky. Rick is in Lakemore, Ohio. Mark Stevenson, good to see you, man. Watching from Canton, Ohio. Football Hall of Fame city. Cool Guy says yes. Drew is watching from Ormond Beach, Florida. Daytona Beach Browns backers. Let's go Brownies. Drew sounds like a lot of fun. I want to go have spring break with Drew. I'll tell you that right now. Clint Spencer says yes. Kimberly Hurst, he is a part of the players that disrupt plays. He made that big pick 6 against the Ravens. That might be worth it alone, not going to lie. If he does that every single year, why not? Cool Guy saying yes. Let me know. Should the Browns have picked up Greg Newsome's fifth year? Have yet to see a no. The most I've gotten in the opposite direction is a eh. And I don't think an is an out-of-bounds response, especially with the recency bias kicking in of Newsome's dreadful, let's just call it what it is, performance against the Houston Texans in the playoffs. Mark says he is still productive. If Jim Schwartz is happy with him, so am I. Yeah, that's probably a good way to go. Like, the Browns have an awesome defensive coordinator. Like, the Browns, the Chiefs, teams that come to mind that have got old DCs that are very content with not being head coaches, and all their job is and all they're being paid to do is draw up ways to kill the quarterback.
Well,
and that's a pretty good DC to have.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz has been so good thus far. There's no reason to not trust his judgment so far.
Mm-hmm. One time he may have slipped up was I don't know how much of a say he really had in the Siaka Ika draft pick, but he was quick to hop on the phone with him and say, I'm going to turn you from a dump truck into a Ferrari. And that hasn't happened yet, but it's only been 1 year, so I think it's too early to rush to judgment on that front. Now, another topic we're going to get to on today's show is the Browns Stadium update. Trending Brook Park. But this is going to be a chess match, and I'll explain all of it in a little bit. But where do you want the Browns to play? Out by the airport? Or where they currently play downtown right up against the lake and keep the location there and just turn it all around? I think in a perfect world, it's downtown. Like, if you can build your dream stadium and then put it either in downtown or Brook Park, I don't see how you could argue for Brook Park over downtown. But downtown's going to have a lot more red tape to it because the Browns want to build a metroplex. Like, they want to get a hotel next to it. They want to get, like, a big restaurant and bar scene, okay? The Cowboys have that with, like, Texas Live. I believe the Eagles have it with Philly Live. Like, the Falcons have, or Atlanta's got it with, like, the Battery. Like, cities are gravitating towards, can we have, like, almost like a mall, but just like bars and restaurants.
It's like an entertainment district.
Yeah, and that might be tough to swing downtown Cleveland. So that's a big pro for Brook Park from the ownership standpoint. But what do you guys think? Where would you rather the stadium be? Downtown or Brook Park? I personally, remove the taxpayer element of it because, it's a different question if you live in those cities and whether or not you're going to see an increase in your taxes or not. But in a perfect world, I think having a stadium downtown up against the lake is just an awesome visual. It's great for flyovers. It just kind of has a little bit more of a Cleveland Browns DNA sense to it. So, perfect world, I'll go downtown. But if downtown means no new stadium, just refurbishments, and Brook Park means brand new dome stadium, I'm going to go with the Brook Park one.
Would you, let's say it's in downtown. Would you go dome or would you go open air stadium at this point?
I used to be the biggest advocate for open air stadium for northern teams. And then Trace Gerard's New Orleans Saints came to Cleveland in a playoff game pretty much for the Browns, win or go home, and they got their butts kicked against a team that practices in New Orleans in December. Doesn't get below 50. And they came into Cleveland and walked all over the Browns in a lot of ways. You make Dennis Allen look good. If you make Dennis Allen look good because of the weather, and the weather's supposed to benefit you, the weather's not benefiting anyone then. It's just making everyone cold and watching them lose in the cold. If you're going to watch them lose, at least have it be in room temp. Much better.
If you're going to be miserable, you might as well be comfortable.
Oh, dude, miserable and cold is the worst.
Miserable in, room temperature, hoodie and sweatpants, yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. The only downside to, the Dome Stadium is this is just, a me issue. I can't stand going from, super cold indoors because I don't like having a bunch of jackets on. And I really don't like carrying a bunch of jackets, putting them on the floor. So I end up just not bringing a jacket and sucking it up for the walk until I get inside.
It's actually the worst because then it's Murphy's Law. When you do that, it's significantly colder when you walk out.
Yeah. All right. Now, we're going to do a special giveaway today. So we've got this autographed Bernie Kosar mini helmet here. And it's the few days after the NFL draft. All the casuals have, checked out by now. And I just want to reward those of you that are still hanging out with us as we enter the true dog days of the offseason coming up. So any Super Chat amount will get you entered. I'm also going to pick people at random in the chat right now. So, Trace, if you can start logging some names, I'll give you a name right now to enter. Cool Guy Called Zone. That's a man that's always in the chat, always hanging out with us. Unable to Super Chat, no problem, not an issue at all. Cool Guy Called Zone is going to be entered into any Super Chat amount. Any Super Chat amount. I want to make it as accessible as possible because I just want to reward all of you that are hanging out with us after the draft because the casuals, the fair weather fans, they're back to not checking in on the Browns until the season starts. But you're a diehard. You're hanging out with us right now, even though the draft is over. So I just want to give back to an awesome fan base and all of our amazing, incredible viewers. So we've got an autographed mini helmet Bernie Kosar giveaway for today's show. We'll do that at the end of the show. You want to guarantee a spot, super chat, and you'll be locked in. I'm also going to be picking people at random in the chat from time to time. May get picked, may not get picked. But I do appreciate everyone who supports us and hangs out with us all season long, including the offseason. Now, coming up on today's show, latest news and rumors, UDFA grades, as I thought it could be a good opportunity for, everyone to get to know the UDFAs a little bit better since so much of the attention goes to the draft picks, and deservingly so. We have seen some UDFAs make this roster, DeAnthony Bell, Ronnie Hickman, Mohamed Diabate. So it happens not just in a blue moon, but pretty consistently year to year. I've got cool guy hanging out with me, Jacob Kistner, Kimberly Hurst, Drew, Mark Stevenson. Cool guy, time flies by so fast. The preseason is going to be right around the corner sooner or later. First, the next thing on the agenda or the calendar is NFL schedule drop, which unless I'm living under a rock, I'm a little surprised they haven't announced the date of when they will announce the dates of the schedule. Nothing drops the NFL the one time where they said, hey, on April 1st, on April 30th, we will announce the day that we are announcing the day that we are releasing the schedule. They announce when the announcement will come.
The best part about the schedule announcements is all the videos that the teams tweet out.
Oh, it's
They're
incredible.
So great.
Dude, the Titans won last year.
Was awesome.
Red Stallions.
Yes, it was awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I hope teams get more in their creative bag. So we have that to look forward to. That's kind of the next thing, cool guy. Schedule, and then we get to look at the schedule. Once you get the schedule in your hand, start going game by game. Even though you already know who all the opponents are, you're like, fucking curb stomp them. That's going to be a tough game. We'll bounce back here, though. Then we get to bye. It's also a great opportunity, like at least selfishly. I look at the NFL schedule, and I'm like, all right, that's the bye week. I pray that Tennessee, my college football team, has a good home game so I can go to that one. Has not worked out the last 2 years, though. I have not been back to Knoxville since the infamous Tennessee-Ole Miss game where allegedly stuff was thrown on the field. But I can't confirm or deny that.
Yeah, I saw a lot of talk from Lane Kiffin.
Too much of a foreign memory for me.
A lot of talk from Lane Kiffin. I don't remember seeing anything flying on the field.
Yep. All right, let's jump into a live Cleveland Browns report. If you haven't liked the video yet, make sure to go ahead and do so. Coming up on today's show, we're going to run through the latest news and rumors on the Browns' potential new Brook Park Stadium. So I'll update you guys and everything there is to know about it. Also, we're going to react to an ESPN article where they had the Browns maybe adding a playmaker after the draft. But let me just take 10 seconds of your time to say thank you. It was an absolute pleasure and a blast covering the NFL draft with you all. And if you hung out with us during the NFL draft and checked in on all of our videos, thank you so much. I love the draft. I love everything leading up to it. And now the best part is around the corner, the actual football season. But thank you to everyone who watched our draft coverage here. Now, first up on the show, let's talk about the new stadium potentially. There was an article that came out over the weekend-ish and leading into the week about the Browns doing more than just their homework on a Brook Park Stadium. So here is the information I can relay to you. Browns team representatives met with state lawmakers regarding a proposal for a new stadium in Brook Park, directly across the street from the airport, Cleveland Hopkins International. Now, Mayor Bibb, the mayor of Cleveland, if you're not into politics, has a lakefront offer to the team, and to me, we've got ourselves a good game of ping pong going on. Now, Signal Cleveland was the spot that kind of dropped the latest news and rumors on the stadium. And in their article, I want to share with you guys a little bit of what they wrote here. Drawings shown to lawmakers depicted a multi-purpose stadium that appeared built deep into the ground and with room for development around it. People knowledgeable about the pitch said. let me pause our little popcorn reading right there and say we've got ourselves a little bit of a chess match, right? Where Browns are going to go back and forth between the state, county, and the city to try and reduce how much money they have to pay, that is Jimmy Haslam himself, and put the state and the city kind of, I wouldn't say against one another, but just let both parties know we could do either one in hopes of driving down their costs and driving up the state, county, and city costs so that the Browns are, well, like billionaires like to do, don't have to spend their money. But they're still going to spend a lot of money. Now, one thing about that little excerpt we just read right there, I definitely took notice of the language use of being built deep into the ground because the stadium is going to be directly across the street from the airport. Now, my dad's a pilot, so I've got like a minor in aviation, if you will, and I think airport folks will agree with me that this can get a bit hairy because the FAA is going to have some and does have some rules about how tall structures this close to the stadium can be. SoFi Stadium is very close to LAX. It's not as close as you can see on the renderings right here that the Browns proposal will be. It's not quite literally across the street. Where the 49ers play, Levi Stadium, that is very close to San Jose's airport, and that has created some issues for the Niners. One, they have an open-top stadium, so there is a constant amount of buzz and planes flying over. Now, if anyone watching, Jeremy Stallman would be an excellent answer for this question here, is a pilot, a flight attendant, works at the airport and knows the flight paths, please let me know. Is this right over where all the inbound and outbound flights are going to be from the runways, or can they vector elsewhere? But with it being a dome stadium, I don't think the sound of airplanes landing and taking off should be too much of a bother, but jet engines can be rather loud, so that is something to keep an eye on. More from Signal Cleveland. The project was sold as an unprecedented economic development effort that includes a domed stadium, an entertainment and lifestyle district that would be mostly privately funded but would likely cost taxpayers significantly too. AKA, Haslam doesn't want to totally foot the bill. Now, we've seen a handful of new stadiums get built over the last decade or so, right? The Rams are a prime example of that, where their owner, Stan Kroenke, he built the entire stadium with his own money. And there's some pros when you do that as an owner. You have complete and control of the stadium and everything that surrounds the operation and the building of it. But there are some cons to that as well, like you have to pay for the whole thing. Now, paying for a stadium 8 years ago was a lot cheaper than it is now. And I think that's something we're going to see because with inflation and the price to import all of the goods and infrastructure needed to build a stadium, it has more than just gone up. It has more than just doubled. The Chicago Bears, I think, may provide to be a blueprint for the Browns because they're actually in a very similar situation as Cleveland. They've got an old, aging stadium right on the shores of a Great Lake, and they have an opportunity to go into the suburbs and to get more land and build the entertainment and lifestyle district they are seeking. Ultimately, the latest proposal in the direction the Bears are headed is to rebuild, or not rebuild, to build a brand new domed stadium in the parking lot of where the current Bears Soldier Field Stadium is. Now, it's not exactly clear how much this new stadium will cost, but it's important to note, don't just look at the stadium price, because when you build a new stadium, you also have to build new infrastructure. You have to build a new parking lot for that new stadium because more often than not, the old parking lot just became where the new stadium is being housed. You have to build new roads, maybe new public transportation. So the Bears' all-in cost, or the city of Chicago, the state of Illinois, the county, Cook County, is around $7 billion. And the Bears have said they're willing to chip in a little over $2 billion. So this gives you an idea of if the Haslams are willing to put up about $2 billion of their own dollars, and the city of Cleveland's only willing to contribute, let's say, $1 billion, but the state of Ohio is willing to contribute a little bit more to get a stadium in Brook Park, well, then all of a sudden the Browns are likely to be going towards Brook Park if that means a brand new stadium compared to just a renovated stadium up against the lakefront. So where will the Browns' new stadium be? Will it be in the burbs or will it stay put downtown? I want to get your opinion down below in the comment section, so let me know. For me, I'll just say this much. Get ready to MapQuest Brook Park. My gut feeling is Jimmy and D. Haslam want the entertainment style of the brand new stadium. And there's so much work that has to be done around the current Cleveland Browns stadium that it's more than just building a new stadium. I don't think it would be satisfactory to just completely raise that stadium to the ground, build a new one right where it is, or build it in the Muni lot and make the current stadium the next Muni lot and call it a day. They want to put bars, hotels, restaurants surrounding the stadium. And I'm not sure the city of Cleveland's going to be able to play ball with chipping in for a new stadium and then chipping in for maybe almost equally as much of building all the surrounding area up. And that's a lot more feasible in Brook Park with 176 acres at your disposal. Now, up next on the show, we're going to talk about the Browns adding a playmaker potentially, as ESPN put out an article with 32 questions for all 32 teams following the NFL draft. And I want to share with you guys what the Browns' new ESPN beat reporter had to say. Goodbye, Jake Trotter. But first, I do want to tell you all about our wonderful sponsor today, which is Game Time. If you are looking to catch a playoff Cavs game, a Guardians game, or any other sporting event in your local area, download the Game Time app today and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. I already put all that information in the comments and description of today's video, but if you're looking to catch a new sporting event or anything else in your local area, Game Time is the place to visit first because they're going to have the best deals on last-minute seats for the lowest price guaranteed. They'll even have deals on events that have already started. So download Game Time today and use that code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Shout out to Game Time for supporting us here at the Cleveland Browns Report. Go support them too if you're looking to catch any kind of game or concert. Game Time is the best place for the last-minute seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Now, the question that the Browns' new ESPN beat reporter who replaced Jake Trotter, I won't be mean. We'll just leave it at that. His question was, do the Browns have enough offensive playmakers? And here's what ESPN Cleveland's Browns beat reporter Daniel Oifusi said. Cleveland used only a day 3 pick on a skill position, 5th-round wide receiver Jamari Thrash, despite wideout Amari Cooper turning 30 before the season starts and running back Nick Chubb rehabbing a pair of knee surgeries. General manager Andrew Berry noted the Browns have had success finding contributors after the draft, but the offense looks like a unit banking on continuity and the emergence of newly acquired wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. So let's break down what Daniel wrote there bit by bit. Let's start the Amari Cooper part. I expect an Amari Cooper extension. Andrew Berry addressed this during the NFL owners meeting. We know how little he likes talking about players and their contract situation. So for him to even say the words Amari Cooper contract, to me that signals the Browns are working on it. And my suspicion is Amari Cooper would be eager to get a deal done. He's playing the absolute best football of his NFL career. He's turning 30 years old in June. If he were to have a down season, oh, how quickly the tides can change on a guy who's 30 years old and didn't play his best ball. We've seen a lot of really good wide receivers just kind of disappear like that because 30 and slight down season. So my suspicion for what a Cooper extension could look like is a 3-year, $60 million extension that pays him his continued average salary of $20 million. So maybe a little bit on the low end, but for him being 30 years old, I don't know if he's going to bet on himself to find a better offer the following free agency when he can take $40 million guaranteed at the age of 30, which for his position is not very common. Now, it's clear to me, though, when it comes to the Nick Chubb portion of what Daniel wrote, Andrew Berry did not want to reach on a running back. Andrew Berry, I think, looked at the 2025 Browns, not the 2024 Browns, and he saw a running back room that would no longer have Nick Chubb since his contract expires after this year, 2 starting guards with $20+ million cap hits, so unlikely he keeps both Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller for their current scheduled price for 2025. So he had a decision to make. If I'm drafting for 2025 because I've got confidence in my roster for 2024, where is there better value in this draft? Interior offensive line or running backs? And my suspicion is he came away from that question with the answer of it's interior offensive line. So my guess is Andrew Berry's plan was, hey, I know next year, future me will have some holes to address. I've got 2 expensive guards, and I've got a running back room that will no longer have Nick Chubb unless I re-sign him. So I can either find Nick Chubb's replacement potentially this year in the draft, or I can find Joel Bitonio or Wyatt Teller, one of those 2 replacements this year in the draft, and do the other one next year. And he figured there's better interior offensive linemen in this year's draft than there are running backs. And plus, the best part about drafting a running back is maximizing their rookie contract. So Berry likely came away from that conversation he had with himself that I'm having with you is, let's check the interior offensive line box this offseason, and then next year, we'll go get a new running back if Nick Chubb is not looking like the Nicholas Jamal Chubb we have all known and loved and seen the last near decade for the Browns. And that way, that new running back can step in. It already has a really good offensive line in front of him, thanks to last year's draft, and he will have the full 4 or 5 year contract in front of him. I don't envision a key wide receiver or running back addition. I think it's a fair question that Daniel poses because Browns are looking for playmakers and they need this offense to, be a huge success. But I think the Browns are confident in their core. I think they look at their running backs and they are confident that Nick Chubb can return soon. And until he does return, they like the guys they drafted and signed, Jerome Ford and Deontay Foreman and Naheem Hines. They like the guys they traded for him, Pierre Strong Jr. And then as for the wide receivers, Andrew Berry has completely gutted the previous wide receiver room and replaced it with all of his guys at this point. Traded for Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy, and Elijah Moore. Drafted Cedric Tillman, David Bell, and Jamari Thrash. I don't think that Andrew Berry is very nervous about this running back or wide receiver room. I think this is just the process of off-season fatigue of, got to find something to talk about. I think the Browns could benefit from adding another wide receiver or running back. And maybe, but I don't think Andrew Berry is going to let the boredom of the offseason dictate his decision-making. Now, if I had to pick one guy that maybe could make some sense for the Browns, what about Deebo Samuel with all the rumors coming out of San Francisco during the draft, especially after selecting Ricky Pearsall from Florida in round 1? Maybe the Niners decide, hey, Deebo's best days are behind him. Let's get something for him while we can, especially if they feel like his value is only going to go down. I mean, this is not a very good chance of happening. If I were the Niners, I would keep Deebo. And even if Deebo doesn't have a great year and his value is worse next offseason than what it is now, I still think it's worth it for the 49ers to keep their core intact to try and go on a Super Bowl run since they were so close last year. But I could see Deebo being a guy where Andrew Berry goes, oh, he's available? Let me make some phone calls. I've got some friends over in San Francisco because Deebo is a playmaker, and Deebo brings something new to this wide receiver room, which is yards after the catch. But if they don't get Deebo, I think you can meet your new yards after the catch guy. Jamari Thrash. He's not Deebo light. I don't want that message to come across. But he is a first down machine, and when he gets the ball in his hands, he has some playmaking abilities to him. Andrew Berry spoke to the media after the draft about Jamari Thrash and said, Jamari, we liked his route skill and his separation ability. This is a guy that was both very productive at Georgia State and then transferring up to Louisville, really answered the bell there, and then really, even through the Senior Bowl in January, we view him as a guy who can play outside and inside. He's good with the ball in his hands. So as we think through our offense and our fit within that receiver room, we're looking forward to seeing him compete for reps, and we think he's a guy that has position flex. This, in my eyes, is your cheap yards after catch target, right? Browns weren't going to spend the draft capital on Deebo Samuel, most likely, and just paying him his very high contract as well, when they can go with the 5th-round pick that by no means I think is going to be nearly as good as Deebo Samuel will be in 2024. But for the Browns, they've already made a lot of payments at the wide receiver position, trading and extending Jerry Jeudy, likely extending Amari Cooper. I think they're willing to just bet on some of their draft picks. But does Andrew Berry have a big move coming? Give me an A-B for yes or give me a P for pass. Let me know down below in the comment section as we bring on Trizzy Trace to pick a card to wrap up today's show. Trace, which card would you like to go with?
I got really close with the 5 of spades, so I'm going to keep rolling with that.
5 of spades? I'm going to go with the 9 of clubs.
Feels like a good card.
Kind of like it. I'm not going to lie. All right, here we go. Jack of clubs. Jack of clubs. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for coming out and hanging out with us here. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider going ahead to do so. It really helps grow the channel. It's greatly appreciated. Joshua Miller, what's going on, Josh? Did Andrew Berry make any offers to move up for A.D. Mitchell? Browns did not make a single trade in the draft. Andrew Berry acknowledged that was very unlike him. Said he wouldn't count on that being the strategy moving forward. He did put blame on Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, former Browns executive, now Vikings GM, about not being able to trade in the 7th round. Stefanski made a joke. He's never seen 2 GMs talk so much about trading 7th round picks and then never do it. So not really sure what the goal was on that front, but I've heard zero chatter that Andrew Berry tried to move up for A.D. Mitchell, which, I mean, maybe that's something they regret. Like, you look back at last year's draft, and there were some really good wide receivers that the Browns passed on, right? Tank Dell, Puka Nacua. Maybe A.D. Mitchell joins that club. Josh, appreciate your super chat. With that super chat, by the way, Josh has been entered to win this autographed Bernie Kosar signed helmet giveaway. We're going to do that at the end of the show. Any super chat gets you entered. So if you want to come away with an autographed number 19 mini helmet, add it to your room, your office, your man cave, super chat, and we'll throw it on screen like Drew just did. Let's go, Drew. First time super chatter. Can I get a little 2-clap action for Drew in the chat? A little 1, 2. Let's go, Drew. Way to be a playmaker, Drew. I'll tell you that right there. Drew Kearns on the first play of the 2024 Cleveland Browns season. That's a handoff to Nick Chubb, and it's a first down, and the crowd goes wild. The Chubb chants are coming in, and all the jokes about I'm having a full Chubb right now.
I'm loving Chubb.
Yep. That's what Drew just did. Drew, really appreciate that. Thank you so much.
Let's go, Drew!
First time super chatter. Let's go, Drew. Every super chat, so you can double dip if you want to. Josh and Drew will get you re-entered, so you can rack up your entries if you prefer. We got Brandon hanging out with us tomorrow. Cool guy. Should we add another one? Another free entry in the chat? Okay, everyone start spamming CLE in the chat. We'll do one free entry in between each video. So start spamming CLE in the chat. I'll close my eyes, and I'll pick the name that I see at the bottom first, and that's the one we'll go with. So
type it faster.
Start spamming CLE for a free entry for the autographed Bernie Kosar mini helmet giveaway. Spam CLE.
Let's
spam
go, Browns
CLE.
fans. Get loud, Browns fans. Come on now.
We'll give it 5 seconds.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let everyone get their fingers warmed up. Some people watch on delay. All right, here we go. Ready? Spam CLE. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I've got Tomorrow Cuber.
Woo!
Tomorrow Cuber. Tomorrow Cuber. I think it was the only time you put a CLE in too. That's like buying just one lottery ticket and winning. Yeah, that's the ultimate.
You can't win unless you buy a ticket.
Yeah. Jersey Dog, good to see you. Rick O, a new face. Colby Parks, a new face. So with that being said, we're going to jump into our next segment. It is UDFA grades. I think it's a fun way for the fan base to get to know some of the guys that don't get as much love. Hey, a $10 super chat rolling in. Let's go. Slow but sure 504. Appreciate you. Love your vids, Petey. Let's go, dogs. Slow but sure. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Love your videos. No idea what kind of content you put out, but I'll just say right now, I'll walk into that. That could be something I regret, depending on the type of content creator they are. But I'm in.
You know what? To double down, I'm in too.
There we go. You got two of us in. Hopefully it's not any weird shit. But I'm a fan already. Slow but sure, really, honestly, thank you so much. Appreciate the support. Reminder, any super chat amount, 99 cents, $10, $2, gets you entered into a free or to a giveaway for a Bernie Kosar helmet giveaway. We'll do free entries along the way as well. Should we jump into the UDFA grades? Like I was saying, these grades I don't want you to look at as like, your second semester finals of the senior year of college. It's just a fun way and a casual way to get to know some of the undrafted free agents, since we're going to spend so much time talking about the draftees. I think these guys deserve some shine and some attention too. Are we ready to jump into it? Am I ready? I don't know if I'm ready. I think I'm kind of ready. I'm not ready. Now I'm almost ready. I have my notes. I got my notes. Because believe it or not, I like to think I know a lot about some of these players, but not the UDFAs. Talk to me about Malachi Corley, and I can blow your mind. Talk to me about Winston Reed, and we're going to have an issue. So let's do it. Are we ready to jump into it? I'm still not ready. I got to get my notes. Now I'm almost ready.
Browns fans, in the comments, let me know who your favorite UDFA signing was. I want to know what you guys think.
Now I'm ready. I'm so ready. You guys don't even know what's coming your way here. Here we go. Let's jump into it. Coming up on today's show, we're going to check out some UDFA grades. Now, don't take these grades seriously really at all. I think it's just a fun way to get to know the UDFAs a little bit better, since so much time and attention will be devoted to the draftees. We've seen some UDFAs make the Browns 53-man roster. So if you want to be the smart guy in your Browns group chat, I would suggest listening up here, because last year, 2 UDFAs made the roster, right? Diabate and Ronnie Hickman. Before that, DeAnthony Bell, A.J. Green, Stephen Carlson, the Scottish Hammer. So maybe another one I forgot. Someone could fact check me. But there is a good history of the Browns, finding a spot on the roster for undrafted free agents. Now, we're not slowing down our content throughout the offseason. I know a lot of other, just content creators for the NFL in general kind of take their foot off the gas once the draft is over. But the same is not here. So go ahead, hit that sub button down below for the best free Browns offseason content going all spring and summer long. Now, let's get into our first UDFA grade, which is Aidan Robbins, running back out of BYU. I'm going to give this one a B grade. Started off at Louisville, transfers to UNLV. He has his best year in Las Vegas, over 1,000 yards, 9 touchdowns. Then he goes to BYU, kind of in a committee backfield, 100-plus carries, 485 yards, and just 1 touchdown. So we'll give Robbins a B grade. Next one up is Ahmarean Brown, wide receiver from South Carolina. I'm going to give Mr. Brown an A grade. The Browns, I think, gave him a good amount of money as a UDFA, so I think there's some real interest on Cleveland's end to be a contender to make the 53-man roster. 5'8", 170 pounds, 4.37 40-yard dash. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Brown is the Anthony Schwartz of this draft class, except he didn't cost you a third-round pick. That is the difference right here. Where the Browns previously used high draft capital on track athletes, now they wait until after the draft to get the track stars, and they pick football players during the NFL draft, which I think is a pretty good idea. Now, let me ask you this question. Will a UDFA make the roster? Yes or no? It always sounds daunting and nearly impossible, but the Browns didn't have a huge draft class, so I think there is room for 1, maybe 2 UDFAs to make the 53-man roster. Next guy up is a tight end from Wyoming. It is Treyton Welch. I'm going to give Mr. Welch a B grade. It has nothing to do with him. It's more about like the tight end room, which I just feel like isn't all that loaded after David Njoku. So I thought they would go after a tight end in the draft. Ultimately, they wait until the UDFA portion to bring in a tight end. So I think Welch actually, despite not having crazy numbers at Wyoming, 5-year guy, 300 yards last year, 9 career touchdowns, he may have a really good shot of making the 53-man roster, because if the Browns want to bring on 3 tight ends and they view Giovanni Ricci more as a fullback, then that means it is Welch and Zaire Mitchell-Payton, a pair of UDFAs, competing for that 3rd and final tight end spot. Next one up is an offensive tackle from Rhode Island, Lorenzo Thompson. I gave Thompson a B grade here. I'll go over my notes I have on Lorenzo, but it wasn't anything that made me think like, whoa, this is an all-time steal. I'm sorry, Lorenzo, if you're watching. I'm sure you're a great football player, and I would never say that to your face because you are 6'6", 305 pounds. 37 career starts at left tackle. So a lot of experience. He's 23. He'll turn 24 soon. So the funny thing about age is that it only works in your favor, right? If a guy's older, then that's a good thing because it means experience. If the guy's older for your rival team, that's a bad thing because it means he's already washed. Next one up is Javion Cohen from Miami. I'm going to give Cohen an A grade. I was very surprised to see him slip out of the NFL draft. This is a player that I think we've talked about during our mock drafts and whatnot leading up to the NFL draft. 6'4", 324 pounds. He was a 2-year starter. Started after just 1 year on the bench for the Crimson Tide. So as a sophomore at left guard. Then he transfers to Miami. He battled with some mental health issues. He's been a big advocate for mental health and awareness surrounding it. But 37 career starts, 2nd team All-SEC, and honorable mention All-ACC last year. Someone tell me why he wasn't drafted. I know he's not some guaranteed round 2, 3, or 4 lock, but not even to go around 6 or 7. I mean, I think Cohen's got a really good chance of making this roster because I think he's probably the best all-around football player of all the UDFAs. Now, a little bit unlucky for him just because the Browns drafted someone at nearly his exact position, guard, in Zach Zinter. But if Michael Dunn, Dawson Deaton, Luke Whippler, they should not be looking at their jobs as locks for the roster. If Cohen comes in and has an awesome training camp, don't rule him out as a sleeper to be a UDFA that makes the roster. Now, we're going to look at the rest of the UDFAs in just a moment. But first, I just want to remind everyone, there's a great deal going on at Fanatics. And I'm a sucker for a good Fanatics deal, so I thought I would share it with you all. Go to chatsports.com/CLE shirt. It's not even warm weather's around the corner now. It is here, so get ready for the summer by getting some new Browns gear for your wardrobe. Check it out today. Use that link to get an awesome deal, chatsports.com/CLE shirt. Next one up is the North Dakota State center, Jalen Sundell. What notes do I have on Mr. Sundell? I gave him a B grade. There they are. 25 starts at center, 15 at left tackle. So he has some versatility to his game. And I think for the Browns, that's something they're going to treasure in a UDFA, a guy that can step in at different spots if needed. Next player up is Winston Reed, linebacker from Weber State. I gave Winston a B+ grade. When you look at the Browns linebacker room, I definitely think a guy like Winston Reed has the opportunity to compete for a 53-man roster spot because the linebacker room definitely doesn't have a lot of surefire things in it. Going back to Reed here, 5'11", 223 pounds, walk-on player at Weber State, and going from walk-on to first-team All-American, I think it gives you a pretty good idea as to the work ethic. So you know what? I'm already talking myself into Winston Reed going from an A-. Drop the minus. Winston Reed, you're an A, dude. I don't know why I gave you an A- when I filled out these grades during lunch. 2-time team captain? I think this guy might be the next Pro Bowl linebacker for this team. You got your next All-Pro right here. So, yeah, Reed, mid-video, on the fly, A- to A. Next guy up here we're going to get into is a cornerback. It is Deshaun Gales Cozart. Going to give Mr. Gales Cozart an A-. Went to South Dakota State, so not a whole lot of information on him. 3-year starter for South Dakota State. Really good ball skills, 9 career interceptions. So talk about someone that may make a play or two in a preseason game. I like the odds on Mr. Gales. I believe our final guy is a safety out of Arizona State. It is Chris Edmonds, who I gave an A grade to. Really good athleticism and size. 6'2", 210 pounds. Ran a 4.46 40-yard dash. 11 career interceptions. He transferred to Arizona State from, I want to say Samford off the top of my head, but I'm going to fact check myself right now to make sure. I got it right, Samford. First team All-American initially with the Bulldogs. First year at Arizona State, leads the team in interceptions, 2-year starter. So the Browns are kind of loaded at safety, I would say. But if Edmonds can wow like the last couple of UDFA safeties have, he could definitely steal a roster spot. Now, which UDFA will make the roster? Let me know down below in the comment section. I'll give you my prediction, but if you've got a different one, by all means, feel free to shoot your shot down below. Always good to see what you guys have to say. For me, I would go with the Wyoming tight end, Treyton Welch. I think Cohen, the Miami guard, is probably the best of the bunch, but he comes into a very crowded interior offensive line, whereas Welch does not enter a very crowded tight end room. So I think if they view Ricci as a fullback, which I believe is a fair assessment, and they want to bring 3 tight ends, Welch is only competing with one other guy. What other UDFA can say that right now? So I'll go with the Wyoming Cowboy, Treyton Welch. Now, let's pick a card with Trace to wrap up the show. Trace, which card do you want to go with?
I'm liking the 5 of spades.
Give me the 8 of hearts. King of hearts.
Brutal.
King of hearts. All right, that will do it for us on today's show. Really appreciate everyone who come out and watched our video today. If you have not subscribed yet, make sure you go ahead and do so, and I'll see you all later with more Browns content. Rick, with a super chat. Let's go, Rick. Appreciate you, Rick. Petey, the best on chat sports. Rick, first timer, 2 clap action. Little 1, 2. Rick, thank you so much. Really, really do appreciate that. Hope you're having a great Tuesday afternoon. Rick, can't wait for the season. Looking forward to hanging out with you during our watch parties as well. Remember, Rick with that super chat just got entered for the autographed Bernie Kosar mini helmet giveaway, which we're going to run at the end of the show. So we're going to do another free entry right now because we're in between segments. Next segment up is a mailbag. But if you want to guarantee your spot for that giveaway, any super chat, does not matter the amount. I just want to try and find a fun way to reward everyone who's watching our live show right now, because the day after, or not the day after, 2 or 3 days after the NFL draft is over, a lot of people go, deuces, I'll see you in August. And that's just soft. Football is so great for so many reasons, but I think one reason is it's a 12-month affair. That is not the same for other sports.
Without a doubt.
So I appreciate everyone who's hanging out with us for all. Oh, let's go. Slow but sure. $30 super chat. Everyone starts spamming slow but sure in the chat. Beers on me, Petey. Damn, slow but sure.
Attaboy.
Out of nowhere. Slow but sure is a UDFA that in preseason's like, whoa, this guy is making more than just plays. He's making a roster spot.
Absolutely. I think that slow but sure isn't just a roster spot. He's a roster lock.
And now he's a starter. Well,
yes.
Sorry, almost.
Almost.
I think slow but sure becomes a starter in like week 2 when a starter gets injured.
No doubt.
And we're like, whoa, who? Like half the fan base is like, who the hell is this guy? Like, you didn't watch the preseason?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're in for a treat.
This guy's going to be absolutely nutty. I'm feeling it.
Mm-hmm. Slow but sure. Thank you so much, dude. Looking forward to having some drinks on you. I have not had a sip of alcohol. I'm not an alcoholic or anything or an AA, but I took like a little health break from it. It's been it'll be a month this Saturday.
Say the first time I had a drink was last night. I was just like, you know what? Gonna pour up a nice beverage. I worked my butt off. one drink, I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Feeling really good about myself.
I just wanted to see how my body would like react and, try and lose some weight by like not drinking for like a month or something.
Petey.
And it feels pretty good.
Snaps
I'm
for
not going to keep this up. I'm definitely towards the end of like the FOMO of watching other people have fun.
Yeah. Well, you do have to be realistic. 4th of July.
It's not
football season.
It's not getting past. It's not getting out of this month.
No.
I already know that.
Good stuff.
But
Jersey Dog
with a $3 super. I've never seen a $3 super chat before.
This might be my first $3 super
$2.99 Jersey Dog. Thank you. So slow but sure, I will have those drinks. It just probably will be next weekend or this weekend. I'm not sure yet. Jersey Dog, thanks for the great draft coverage, Petey. Jersey Dog, you are very welcome. I love the draft. I love preparing for the draft, getting to know all the prospects. It was my absolute pleasure to fill you guys in on every single selection the Browns made. The funny thing about the draft is, from a content creator standpoint, it takes stones not to just give every pick your team makes an A grade, because ultimately the viewers are looking for confirmation bias that it's a good selection. And if you don't say good things, people get very mad at you. But also, if you say good things and they end up stinking, no one's all that upset with you. But if you say negative things and they end up stinking, no one comes to reward you for being right.
They will never forget.
Yeah. So there's not. Whoa.
That was my fault.
Power's back.
I clicked it.
No. There's like almost nothing to gain from like not being like a homer for each pick, other than I feel like over the course of many drafts and years, you can have a reputation of like, all right, he was right about that guy and he wasn't super high on him, and then that guy didn't work out very well. Like, I remember giving the Perion Winfrey draft pick an A grade. Yikes.
Oof.
Not work out well.
We do need more questions, so if you want to get on the mailbag, use hashtag Browns or send in a super chat. Ask us a question, give us a hot take, a trade idea, whatever you want. But we want to get you guys on the show.
Get those questions in, hashtag Browns. I know Josh is going to do that. Tim Green, Cool Guy, Rick O, Slow But Sure, Jake Heath. Get a hashtag Browns right now in the chat. Ask a question after the draft. Anything under the sun related to the Browns or the NFL, and we'll pop it on screen for everyone seeing to watch. Are we ready to jump into a mailbag in a moment or two? I know Cool Guy's going to get a question in. All right, Josh is definitely going to get the ball rolling. Everyone else, get your questions in. Hashtag Browns, or if you want, you can super chat and you skip the line. Are we ready to jump into it? Here we go. Welcome on into a Cleveland Browns mailbag as our first question comes in from Nighthawk. Last year, the Browns traded for Zadarius Smith after the draft. Who might they trade for this year? Good question, Nighthawk. When I look at the Browns' needs, they're not massive. But if I had to put together a list of positional needs, I would say the Browns could stand to add maybe another linebacker, maybe a running back, depending on Nick Chubb's return date, a wide receiver, although I don't really think they need a wide receiver, but Andrew Berry is always looking to upgrade at important marquee positions, and him drafting a wide receiver every year as the Browns GM, I think says a lot about where he views the wide receiver position ranking amongst other position groups. Tight end, I definitely think is a quiet big need for this team, because if Njoku goes down, who else is there? Then you got offensive tackle. Depending on the recovery timelines for Jed Wills, Jack Conklin, and DeJuan Jones, if 1, 2, or 3 of those guys is not on pace to be back, by the week 1 of the season, I could see them adding another tackle. But if you're looking at like recognizable names, I would toss Deebo Samuel out there. I am not in any way, shape, or form advertising that Deebo Samuel is going to make the Browns roster, or I beg your pardon, be the Browns trade. However, I could see Deebo Samuel catching Andrew Berry's interest if the availability is real and the price were to drop. So Deebo Samuel, I could see being a guy that Andrew Berry goes, well, I traded for Zadarius Smith last year in May on a Friday night, because why not? Maybe Deebo Samuel is his why not this year if he's really available. Now, would you trade for Deebo Samuel? Yes or no? Get in the comment section and let me know whether or not you would trade for Debo. Next question coming in from Joshua Miller. I'm still a bit salty A.D. Mitchell was taken only 2 spots ahead of us. The trade guru Andrew Berry couldn't find a way to move up 2 spots. Really? Yeah, I understand where you're coming from. I think it's also worth noting that there may not have been a team willing to come down. Like, I don't think the Colts were looking to come down once A.D. Mitchell was available to them. And internally, I've got no idea where the Browns stood on A.D. Mitchell. I know the Colts GM, Chris Ballard, roasted, anonymous sources that said there were character concerns regarding A.D. Mitchell and his, temperament, I guess we'll call, when his diabetic and blood sugar levels aren't stabilized, and that seems very unfair to hold against a human being. But I don't know if that was something that crept into the Browns war room or not. I agree that A.D. Mitchell was someone that mid-draft I was like, keep falling. But for the Browns, I feel like they were internally much more content with their wide receiver room than outsiders believed. Deb, next one up. I've heard analysis say that wide receiver Jamari Thrash was a steal. Do you agree? I don't think he was a steal. I think in order to be a steal, he had to be a guy that a lot of people thought would go much earlier in the draft. And I feel like round 5 is pretty fair for Jamari Thrash, right? He had 1 year at a Power 5 conference at Louisville. So the level of competition he went up against at Georgia State was not superb. So it's hard to know whether or not, if you break a tackle against some Sunbelt defender, can that really carry over to the NFL? Well, it's a lot easier to make that jump from the ACC than the Sunbelt. But there are some really good games about Thrash's makeup that I like a lot. I don't think he's like a technician route runner like a Devontae Adams, but I do think it's one of his skills and attributes that he's great with the ball in his hands. I think he does struggle with contact a little bit, but all in all, I am excited about the pick because I do think it brings a little bit of a new flavor to the wide receiver room. Tomorrow, Cuber, what do you say about trading for DPJ for maybe another undrafted, underrated receiver to really beef up this receiver room? Trade for Donovan Peoples-Jones? Really? I don't think that's going to happen. Well, one, he's a free agent. Let's kind of open up there. I don't know if you're thinking of another DPJ, but I can't think of another one. So what do you say about trading for DPJ for maybe another underrated receiver to really beef up this receiver room? I think when it just comes to adding another wide receiver in general, Andrew Berry is happy with the room he's made, right? He's got his guys in there. And the last thing I would think he wants to do is tinker with it and remove snaps away from players he spent currency on. You know what I mean? In a very Colin Cowherd analogy, it's a little bit like going to the store and spending money on all this hamburger, ingredients, the buns, the cheese, the meat, tomatoes, bacon, and then going home and ordering a pizza. It's like, well, then why'd you spend all that much money on the hamburger stuff if you were going to go something different? Why'd you trade for Jerry Jeudy and Amari Cooper and Elijah Moore if you were going to go trade for another guy and decrease their production and their role in this offense? That's why I don't think the Browns are going to be big, buyers in a wide receiver trade market. But if a name like Andrew Berry comes around, or in this case, it would be like the world's greatest pizza Andrew Berry's ever had, he may decide, F it to the burger I was going to make, I'll go have that pizza. All right, thank you, Colin Cowherd, for that bad analogy I just gave. Before we get on to the rest of the mailbag questions, I do want to tell all of our beautiful and wonderful viewers about Game Time. If you are trying to go catch a Cavs playoff game, a Guardians game, or any other sporting event in your local area, download the Game Time app today and use that code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Now, I've already put all that information in the comments and description of today's video, but Game Time is the place to visit because with that $20 off code after entering Chat Sports, you can save on parking and concession stand runs and whatnot. So that way you can enjoy your trip to the ballpark, the concert, wherever it may be, with an extra Andrew Jackson in your pocket. So download the Game Time app and use code CHATSPORTS, CHAT Sports, for $20 off your first purchase. Game Time is the best place for last-minute seats at the lowest price guaranteed. Lil Beam, next one up. Isn't it a coincidence that I wanted the Browns to trade up with the Patriots to go get Joe Milton, and the Patriots got Joe Milton? Non-Browns related, Joe Milton, I think, is going to be this upcoming preseason's like DTR. Remember how popular Dorian Thompson-Robinson was, like league-wide last preseason? I think that's Joe Milton this preseason. Book it right now. Leather Neck Viking. Isn't it true that the draft debt owed for Deshaun Watson is now paid in full? Yes. Every pick that was exchanged between the Browns and the Texans has now been used to draft a player or traded for a player in some way, shape, or form. So moving forward, there are no picks belonging to the Texans that came over from the Browns or vice versa. And listen, I know that this has been a popular topic of grading the trade now that it's complete. I don't think it is complete. The picks may have been made, but now we got to see how the picks work out, right? We got to see how Deshaun Watson plays for the Browns. We got to see how Jerry Jeudy plays for the Browns, since the Browns used a draft pick from the Houston Texans to acquire Jerry Jeudy. And the same goes for Houston. The Texans used draft capital to move up and get guys like Will Anderson. They also had some missed picks like Kenyon Green and Damian Pierce, which I think just goes to show even when you get a huge truckload full of picks, it's hard to make them all count because the draft is such a crapshoot. So I'm not in the business of going, well, now that all the picks have been exchanged, we can now decide who won this trade. Nope, I don't think we can. I think next offseason we'll have a much better idea than right now, but I think it's way too early because it hasn't been a full amount of time for all the picks that turn into players that have gotten on the field at all yet to have a good idea as to who made the better end of the draft capital. Joshua Miller. I've seen grades from the supposed draft experts ranging from A- to a D. Which end of the grading spectrum did the Browns fall? I would say right in the middle, honestly. I gave the Browns a C+. I think it is a C+. I think if we're being realistic about the picks they made, I think Michael Hall can be a really solid, like as a ceiling. Could be a little short selling maybe for some. Rotational defensive tackle. I don't think they found their next Chris Jones. Would love to be proven wrong on that. I think Zach Zinter can be a starting guard that maybe makes a Pro Bowl here or there, kind of like Wyatt Teller, and that's a really good ceiling to have. Like, I don't think he's going to be a Quentin Nelson, a Joel Petonio, or a Zach Martin. I don't think physically he's probably gifted enough to be one of those guys, but I think the Browns did a good job of covering their bases for next offseason as they continue to have a habit of, we don't have a first-round pick. All right, we're not going to reach for a positional need we have this year. We'll go get the best player available and likely check a box for next offseason, like they did with Michael Hall and Zach Zinter. Mark Stevenson. The Browns have the best media outreach out of all the teams. This channel proves it. Very good at trends and news. Petey is the best of the chat sports peeps. Really loved the tour of the studio. Mark, really, really appreciate your kind words. I love what I do. I love waking up every morning and literally feeling like, I don't know what the best analogy would be or, comp, but waking up and it's kind of like the last day of school, like that excitement of like, oh, it's all over, except it's not about school ending. It's like I get to go in and try and figure out what I want to talk about today. And that's a really fun feeling most of the time. Some days you're like, there's nothing to talk about. And I think you can probably pick out which videos those days fell on. Trace, do you want to pick a card?
I would love to pick a card, and I'd also love to show some extra love to Petey. I want to go with the 7 of diamonds.
7 diamonds. Let me go with the. Give me the Queen of Spades. 5 of diamonds.
Dude.
5 of diamonds. Isn't that what we did last time? Or 2 times ago?
Yes, I picked that one before.
All right. That will do it for us on today's show. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. I probably should have mentioned this earlier, but hopefully nothing I said got dated. But today's mailbag was filmed, by the way, as you all, bid me a fair due here, on Tuesday, April 30th. So just want to get that out on the record right now. Bernie Kosar, Browns legend, mini helmet, autograph giveaway, super chat, guarantee a spot on screen. Super chats for all these people. We do have another entry, free entry, and then we'll do the race or the wheel spin, right? Let's do the spin. We always do the race. Let's do the spin. We'll pick one more name in the chat for free, and if you super chat, you guarantee your name gets entered. So start spamming CLE in the chat right now, and we'll do another entry. And like I said, if you don't want to, risk not being picked out of the chat, super chat any amount at all, and you'll be entered to be a potential winner of the Bernie Kosar autographed mini helmet. We got Finn Lamp. I kind of want Finn Lamp to win, but my bosses would be a little upset because the shipping for Germany would be a bit much. But we've shipped international before. One time, this is actually a funny story. One time I had a winner. Guy worked in Ireland. I probably should have followed up with him. He worked in Ireland at a retirement hospice center, and I don't know if he worked or if he was a resident. But he won, and he gave me the Irish address. And every time you look at European addresses, you're like, nope, this does not go anywhere. This is a map to nowhere. And I was like, I hope this gets there. And I never heard from him saying I never got it. So I'm kind of optimistic. Okay. I don't know what happened to that. I'm going to try and find the DM. And be like, hey, I know it's been 6 months, but did you ever get it? All right, start spamming CLE. I'll pick someone out of the chat. All right, here we go. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I've got Finn Lamp. Finn Lamp from Germany. Dude, Finn Lamp is going to win. Finn Lamp has won. I don't know if Finn Lamp knows this yet, but yeah, Finn Lamp, you're definitely going to win this one. And now we have a good experiment to know, will it reach there? All right. If I didn't call your name and you still want to be entered into the giveaway, super chat any amount, and then we will add you for that mini Bernie Kosar helmet giveaway. Finn Lamp. We have Finn Lamp. We got Finn Lamp. All right. Ty Man didn't hear my name. Ty Man, I didn't say your name, buddy. That's why. I love you, Ty Man. Ty Man is in every single Chat Sports giveaway raffle. I still want to know. I wish Ty Man you took a picture of your setup for the draft because you were in every single draft party. That's what I want to know.
It was actually extremely impressive. People in the office were talking about it.
Yeah, you got the boss's attention. That says a lot. Are we ready? We'll give 60 more seconds. 60 more seconds. If you want to be entered into the Bernie Kosar mini helmet giveaway, super chat any amount. 99 cents, $100.99, doesn't matter. Jake Heath, hey Petey, any tight end trade targets? Off the top of my head, no. Only one I could think of is, and this wouldn't happen, the Raiders tight end. Michael Mayer, because they just drafted Brock Bowers.
A name to look out for. The Saints could look to trade a tight end. Jawan Johnson, he was a wide receiver at Oregon, moved to tight end position.
That's a name. We'll take it. That's one.
There's one.
Yeah, tight end trades are pretty rare. I just can't. Darren Waller, I guess, yeah. Jimmy Graham got traded. Hey, we got Super Chat. Let's go. Ghostface with a $2 super. And Christopher Stofira. I'll hop in on this PD first race. Ghostface, best of luck. Christopher Stofira with a $2 super chat. Jacob Kistner, you should give a free. Jacob, you got the last giveaway, buddy. You're funny. And Leatherneck Viking. Here we go. Some soupies rolling in. Leatherneck Viking. We'll throw that on screen for you next, buddy. I love the rivalry between Kistner and Ty Man the Buckeye. Here, once Trace adds all the names in there. Leatherneck Viking, Super Show and Super Host enjoying the topics. Really appreciate that, Mr. Viking. Thank you so much. Appreciate the super chat, and best of luck in the helmet giveaway. Ooh, Jake Heath, Albert O from Philly. The Eagles re-signed Albert O. To me, that signals that they like him. If they didn't like him, they just will let him walk to free agency. So I wouldn't say that's an impossible chance, but I wouldn't hold your breath on that one either. Slow but sure with another one. Let's go. Here we go. We got Ghostface, Christopher Stofira, Leatherneck Viking, slow but sure. I'm ready. Last call. 30 more seconds, because we just had a good run right there. And then we'll get into the raffle, or the wheel spin, I should say, for the helmet giveaway. Are we ready? 10 more seconds. Last call. Who do you think is going to win?
I mean,
predictions. By the way, it's a website. The thing that grinds my gears is when people think there's some sort of fixing going on, as if I have a rooting interest for one person over the other.
Google wheelofnames.com and you'll find the same website.
Who do you think is going to win?
I like Finn. It just
Dude,
the odds are in Finn's
destiny.
favor. It's destiny.
Dude, I'll tell you what.
Hey-o!
Oh, Sweet Tooth 43. We'll add you right now, and a first-time super chatter. Let's go, Sweet Tooth. A little two-clap action. A little 1-2. Sweet Tooth 43, $2 super chat. Thank you. I kind of like Sweet Tooth. I feel like the last person's got a chance.
That's a good call.
I'll tell you
what. He's the first time super chat.
It's going to nearly be our friend in Germany, and then it'll be Sweet Tooth. That's my prediction. Okay. Another 30 more seconds. As soon as Trace has the wheel ready, we will spin that bad boy. If we get another $2 super chat, we get to 60. That'd be kind of a fun little number to end on.
Yeah. Get to brag to everyone in the office.
Yeah. $1.05 away from a nice number 60. Who wants okay. We need a 60 now. Now that I've tried to speak into existence.
Now we need it.
All right, we'll get 30 more seconds. Rick O is pulling. Oh, there it is, Kistner. Jacob Kistner. There goes the alley. Down goes the oop. Jacob Kistner gets it to 60. Now we're ready. Let's do this thing. My prediction is Sweet Tooth. Just kind of feels like a sleeper team. This is number 8 seeded UConn going all the way against Kentucky.
Love it.
Yep. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin that wheel. Oh no, Joshua Miller! Whoa. Okay, add Josh. That was a close call.
Almost had a oopsie.
I didn't know you could stop mid-wheel.
I just tried refreshing it, hoping that would work.
Yeah,
I'm
that
really
worked.
glad it worked.
Trace has great pullout game. Okay. Greasy Flights here, north of the border. All right, we're gonna add Josh, and now we're gonna spin that wheel.
All right.
Best all-time football name. Like Josh, you mean like Browns, Bengals, Steelers, Ravens, like team name like that? Just so I know what we're talking about here. All right, now we're ready. Here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Spin that wheel. Someone else gonna set super chat mid. It's gonna be the free entry tomorrow, Cuber. All right, everyone. Be good sports about it. Clap it up for Tomorrow Cuber. Tomorrow Cuber. I'm gonna put my email in the chat for you right now. Email me with your information so I can send you the helmet.
Is it Matthew?
Yes, it is. I just put in the chat. Congratulations to Tomorrow Cuber. I hope he's still here. Oh boy. Tomorrow Cuber. Make yourself known. Ladies and gentlemen, I have not heard from Tomorrow Cuber yet. Oh, Nelly. This could be interesting. What do we do? Tomorrow Cuber. Identify yourself in the chat.
Sweet Tooth says spin again.
TLH Arts and Projects is here as well. Tomorrow Cuber. I think we give Tomorrow Cuber another 90 seconds or so. I definitely want Tomorrow Cuber to claim their winnings. Pie Man is advocating to run it again.
Jacob Kiss.
I feel so bad for Tomorrow Cuber.
I know, dude.
I think we're going to have to spin it again.
Let's see. I haven't seen him send a message in a while.
Tomorrow Cuber.
Come
Tomorrow
on, Cubes.
Cuber. Going once. Going twice. Tomorrow Cuber. 3 times. I'm so sorry. You got to spin again. Yeah, remove Tomorrow Cuber. I feel so bad. I hope Tomorrow Cuber never finds out about this. That is nightmare fuel.
That really is. Signed Bernie Kosar helmet.
Okay.
We feel terrible.
I don't know what to do. Tomorrow Cuber. Email me and I'll try to find a way to make it right if you end up coming across this. But Trace, spin that wheel. What do we got?
Who's it going to be?
Oh my
It's headed
gosh.
to Germany.
It's going to Germany.
Yeah! That's hilarious.
Finn Lamp.
I love it.
Is Finn Lamp still here?
Finn!
Oh my gosh. Is our German viewer still here? Finn Lamp. Is it going to happen again?
If Finn isn't there, this is crazy.
Is this going to happen for a second time? Finn Lamp, please make yourself known. Finn Lamp. There's it! Finn Lamp.
Congrats, Finn.
Okay. Finn Lamp, email me, Matthew at Chat Sports. By the way, no Matthew in the world should spell their name with 1 T. So don't email Matthew with 1 T. That goes to nowhere. Email me, Finn Lamp. Congratulations. And we will get this thing to Germany for you one way or another. All right. We'll call it a show. Thank you guys so much. I can't think of any questions. I've got trivia. Are you ready?
Let's do it.
Can you name the 5 colleges that have produced the most first-round draft picks since 2000?
Since 2000.
Yes.
LSU, Ohio State, Alabama, Florida?
Florida was actually number 5.
Really?
But it got passed up this year.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
By LSU.
By LSU.
Because they had 3 picks, and Florida only had 1, Ricky Pearsall, and they were only one pick behind.
Okay, so Florida's not 1.
Florida's not 1.
So LSU, Georgia?
Georgia's up there, yep.
Okay. Alabama was 1?
Alabama's number 1.
Okay.
Ohio State's number 2.
Okay.
Georgia's number 3. LSU is
was
number
5.
5, I think.
And then 4.
I think I know what 4 is. I think LSU's 4, and I know what 5 is.
Texas?
No. Had a pick this year in round 1.
I'm trying to think of like schools that had a lot of picks in the past too.
I'm kind of going off memory for this one, but I think it's correct.
Not Florida State.
No. They were like 7.
Michigan? No, they didn't. Oh, they got JJ.
No. They had
OU?
Oklahoma.
Oklahoma. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes
USC
sense.
is like 5 or 6.
Okay, so USC.
Or 6 or 7, I mean.
So it
Yeah.
was Bama, Ohio State,
Georgia, Oklahoma, LSU, and then it went Florida, and then it went USC.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Well, there you
And
go.
then I think Florida State.
There you go.
All right. That will do it for us. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, and go Brownies.